$340. That's what's left in your checking account 4 days before payday. You don't remember spending it. You never do. You are 23. You have a job. A real one. With a badge and a desk and a 401k you haven't looked at. Both of you start here. Same starting salary. $54,000 a year. Same city. Same apartment complex. 2 buildings apart. The fork is quiet. It always is. Nobody warns you that the fork exists. There's no sign. No moment where someone sits you down and says, "This decision matters more than it looks like it does." It just happens in the space between 2 paychecks, in the 15 minutes after you sign a lease, in the way you answer the question, "What do I do with what's left over?" Path A. The below means 1. Age 23. You get your first paycheck, $3,100 after tax. You do something almost nobody does in the first month of a real job. You build a budget before you build a lifestyle. Rent, $950. A used Honda, paid off. No payment. Groceries, not takeout. You automate $400 into a brokerage account the day the paycheck lands, not after bills, before them. You've read that the money you see first is the money you keep. The money you see last is the money that disappears. So you rearrange the order. It feels almost like cheating the first time you do it, like you found a loophole nobody told you about. Except the loophole is just, pay yourself before anyone else gets a vote. Your coworker calls your apartment small. It is small. You don't upgrade it. She means it as an observation. You hear it as one too. At night you run small scenarios, just to see. You do it because the numbers, unlike most things in your life right now, actually respond to you. They move when you move them. Path B. The lifestyle inflation one. Age 23. Same $54,000. Same $3,100 landing in the account. You sign a lease on a 1-bedroom with a gym and a rooftop. $1,650 a month. It felt reasonable in the tour. Everything feels reasonable in the tour. You lease a car, not because yours broke down, because the new job felt like it deserved a new car. $389 a month for 60 months. You don't run the total. Nobody runs the total in the moment they're signing. Your first paycheck disappears into furniture for the apartment nobody's coming to see yet. A $1,200 credit card balance by month 3. You call it getting settled. You've heard other people call it that too, which is part of why it doesn't feel alarming. You post a photo of the rooftop view at sunset. 14 people like it within the hour. Nobody asks what the lease costs. Nobody ever asks that. The gap at 24. Path A has $6,200 invested and a $2,000 emergency fund earning 4.5%. Zero consumer debt. Path B has $1,100 in savings, a $4,800 credit card balance, and a car payment that will outlast the car's warranty. Net worth, approximately negative $3,700. The distance isn't income. It's identical. The distance is what happened to the same $3,100 every single month. The first rule. Lifestyle inflation isn't a decision, it's the absence of one. Every dollar you don't direct gets directed for you. Age 25 to 29. Path A. You get a raise. $61,000 now. You do the thing that feels almost unnatural. You don't feel richer. You increase your automated investment by exactly the amount of the raise. $180 more. Gone before you see it. Your apartment is the same. Your car is the same. People assume you're not doing well because nothing about your life announces otherwise. You've stopped needing it to. At 27, your investment accounts cross $31,000. You've never carried a credit card balance past the statement date. Not once. You start reading more, not out of anxiety but out of a quiet kind of curiosity. You don't need any of it yet. You read it anyway, because understanding the mechanism feels like its own kind of security. You take a modest trip, nothing extravagant. You come back and the number in the account hasn't moved because the number was never at risk to begin with. Path B. The raise arrives. $63,000. It feels like permission. You move to a 2-bedroom, split with nobody, because you deserve your own space now. $2,100 a month. You upgrade the lease on the car before the current one ends. $460 a month now. Dinners out become a category, not an occasion. Vacations become annual, then twice annual. Funded partly by a card that never quite clears. At 27, you check your accounts and the number surprises you, not because it's high, because it's negative. Credit card debt, $11,400. 401k, $8,900. Mostly employer match you didn't turn down but didn't increase either. You tell yourself this is a phase. You believe this the way you believed it at 24, and at 22 before that. Whenever there was a version of you that was slightly better with money, waiting just past the next milestone, the gap at 27. Path A. Net worth approximately $58,000. No debt. Accelerating. Path B. Net worth approximately negative $2,500. Same title, same income, almost to the dollar. A study from the Federal Reserve found that 37% of Americans making over $100,000 a year still live paycheck to paycheck. Income was never the variable that mattered most. Absorption was. The second rule: your expenses will always rise to meet your income unless you decide, in advance, exactly how much of the rise you'll allow through. Age 30. Path A. Your salary is $78,000. Your investment accounts hold $94,000. You bought a modest condo at 29. $187,000 purchase price, 20% down. Saved over 26 months without touching the brokerage. Mortgage, $1,140 a month. Less than most people's rent in your city. You still drive the Honda. Nobody at work knows your net worth. You say nothing and let the accounts speak for themselves. To no one, because they don't need an audience to be real. The anxiety that used to sit underneath every purchase has quieted without you deciding to quiet it. It just happened. The way a room gets warm slowly enough that you don't notice the exact moment it stopped being cold. Your salary, also $78,000. The apartment is now a 3-bedroom. Because the 2-bedroom felt cramped once the relationship moved in. $2,800 a month. The car has been upgraded twice. Combined car payments across 2 vehicles, $780 a month. Credit card debt has cycled 4 times. Paid down, crept back, paid down again. Current balance, $9,600. You have $2,100 in savings. Your 401k holds $22,000. Most of it employer match. You are not reckless. Every individual purchase, at the moment you made it, felt reasonable. That's the part nobody warns you about. Lifestyle inflation doesn't feel like a mistake in the moment. It feels like a reward you earned. You almost look at the whole picture honestly in March. You open the app, look at the summary for 4 seconds, and close it. Looking would require doing something about it. The gap at 30. Path A. Net worth approximately $121,000. Path B. Net worth approximately $14,400. Same income for 7 straight years, a $106,000 gap. Age 31 to 35. Path A. At 32, you're promoted. Base salary $96,000. You increase your investing rate again, this time by more than the raise. At 34, you buy a rental property. Duplex, $210,000. Net cash flow after everything, $410 a month. It's money that didn't exist last year and now shows up every month whether you go to work or not. Your investment accounts at 35, combined, $267,000. Net worth, approximately $366,000. You drive a car with 140,000 miles on it. It still starts every morning. Nobody would guess your net worth from your car. You've started meeting other people who live this way, quietly, just a slow recognition. When someone mentions a number in passing that doesn't match their outward life, and something between you shifts. At 32, also promoted. Base salary $94,000. The promotion comes with a small celebration, a nicer car. Again, financed, $620 a month now. A larger apartment becomes a small starter home purchase at 33, but the down payment was thin, so closing costs went partly on a card. At 34, a medical bill arrives, $6,200 after insurance. There is no cushion for it. It goes on a card at 24, 99% APR. You pay minimums for 11 months. Net worth at 35, approximately $41,000. Almost entirely home equity you can't easily access. The medical bill did something the other expenses didn't. It made the fragility visible in a way a car payment never quite does. An emergency feels like proof that the floor was thinner than you let yourself believe. The gap at 35. Path A, $366,000. Path B, $41,000. The distance is $325,000. Same 2 people, same rough income for 12 years running. Spending tends to rise in near perfect proportion to income unless a household pre-commits a portion of every raise to savings before it reaches the checking account. The third rule: the habit compounds as reliably as the money does. One of these paths built a system, the other made the same reasonable decision, over and over. Age 36 to 40. Path A. At 38, Your rental income plus dividend income crosses $2,100 a month. Combined, your salary is almost optional now. You run the numbers with a financial planner at 39, and the model shows financial independence achievable by 46. 7 years out. At 40, your net worth crosses $680,000. Investment accounts, $410,000. Real estate equity, $190,000. Cash reserves, $80,000. You've never once, in 17 years of working, carried a credit card balance past its due date. The number isn't the story. The absence of urgency is the story. You take a trip that would have felt irresponsible at 25 and now just feels like Tuesday with better scenery. You haven't thought about money once, because the system is doing the thinking for you now. Age 36 to 40. Path B. At 38, a layoff hits your industry. Your role is eliminated. Severance. 6 weeks. $8,800. Age 41 to 45. Path A. Your properties appreciate. Your brokerage compounds without a single additional contribution some years, and it still grows. At 40, net worth approximately $89,000, almost entirely illiquid, and a credit card balance that costs more in interest each month than your entire investment contribution used to be. You are not lazy. That word was never accurate. You went to work every day for 17 years. The difference was never the paycheck. It was what happened to it before something absorbed it. Age 41 to 45. Path A. Your properties appreciate. Your brokerage compounds without a single additional contribution some years, and it still grows. At 43, you take 3 months away from active management of your business entirely, and nothing breaks. You've built something that doesn't need you in the room every hour. At 45, your net worth crosses $920,000. You've stopped checking the number weekly. You check it seasonally now, the way some people check the oil in a car that's never given them trouble. Age 41 to 45. Path B. At 42, you consolidate the remaining credit card debt into a personal loan. Finally, at a lower rate. It's a good decision. 5 years later than it needed to be. You start a small automatic transfer increase, $60 a month more, which feels significant to you and would have felt like rounding error to Path A 20 years ago. At 45, net worth approximately $103,000. Progress. Real progress. But progress measured against a hole instead of against a foundation. The math on retirement is not kind. The final comparison. Age 45. Path A. Net worth approximately $920,000 and compounding. Monthly passive income, over $2,400. Options, not as an idea, but as something real. Path B. Net worth approximately $103,000. Monthly passive income, close to zero. Salary required, indefinitely. A floor that has grown slightly thicker, out of necessity, but is still thin. The distance between these two people is over $800,000. 22 years ago they were the same age, the same income, the same uncertainty. The fork in the road did not announce itself as a fork. One of them decided once, automatically, before the money arrived, what portion of every dollar belonged to the future. The other made 100 separate reasonable decisions, one paycheck at a time. The paycheck never asked which path you were on. It just landed, every 2 weeks, for 22 years straight. And whoever built a structure before it arrived kept what showed up. Whoever waited to decide, decided every time, without meaning to, that the money would go somewhere else. Lifestyle inflation was never one bad choice. It was the compounding of 1,000 reasonable ones, made without a system, against a paycheck that kept arriving right on schedule. The balance is $340. It always starts small. What happens next was never about the number. It was about what you decided to do with it before you had time to decide anything else. The only question left is whether you set it up today, or whether you become the story you just watched.